guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how I like to make a cannoli dip, 2 different flavors. I'm going to do like a traditional cannoli dip flavor, and I'm going to do a almond chocolate flavor. Now, you love cannolis, I love cannolis, but the truth is, I don't know if it's the pregnancy or what, but the idea of having to fill like 20 mini cannoli shells just kind of sends me over the edge. So I figured a dip would be a fantastic option if you're having a get-together, especially right now, if you're doing like back to school and you have people coming over, or you're having a neighborhood fall party, or just really any gathering and you want to put something out that people will love. And trust me, people will love these recipes like you would not believe, and they're so simple and easy. I mean, they're perfect. So let me run you through the list of ingredients you are going to need. What I have here is some cream cheese that I have softened, whole milk ricotta. You need some confectioner sugar. This is some ground cinnamon. You can't see it because it's clear, but a little bit of almond extract, unsweetened cocoa powder, good vanilla, an orange. You're also going to need some mini semi-sweet chocolate chips and anything you want to use as your dipper. What I like to buy are actually pieces of cannoli. They're called cannoli chips. They sell them at my regular grocery store. It's basically like a cannoli shell, but instead of them forming it into a shell, they form it into a little chip. So it's beautiful, it's easy to use, but you can also use patels if you don't have those. Goodness, really anything. You can use whatever your heart desires. You can use waffle cones broken up into pieces. Have fun, be playful. All right, let's get started. Now my cream cheese has been softened at room temperature, but I want to whip this up a bit, so I'm just going to use my handy dandy little mixer here, and I'm just going to let it mix for about a minute. Awesome. Now traditional cannoli filling doesn't require any cream cheese. I like to add it into a dip because it makes it super creamy. I think that if you are not going to have it in the cannoli shell, if you're just using ricotta and that's it, it might just seem a little bit too thin, a little too runny, and almost a little too flavorless, if you will. So by adding the cream cheese, you're adding lots of thickness, you're adding lots of really good flavor. So I think it's really important to add it here. And your confectioner sugar. These are going to be the 3 ingredients that are going to be the base for both. So I'm just going to whip these up. I'm going to whip it and whip it real good for about a minute. This looks pretty fantastic. I want to point just one thing out because I do think it's important. You have to use whole milk ricotta. Don't try to use low fat, and don't try to use part skim because your filling will be too thin and runny. So whole milk, if you're going to make it all the way. I'm going to split this into 2. I'm going to take half of this mixture and add it to my cocoa powder and set that aside. And I'm going to use half for my traditional flavor. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just going to take this all from the sides of the bowl. Traditionally, I always add a little bit of cinnamon. It is pretty traditional. A splash of vanilla. Make sure you buy the good stuff or you make it your own if you've got the time. If I can get this open, I think it'd be a lot better. Here we go. A little vanilla. Let those vanilla beans run through. And a little bit of orange zest. And the reason why I like to add orange zest is because in traditional cannoli, and by we, I mean like my family, and I've always eaten them, with candied citrus running through it. It's hard to find. Candied citrus rinds are really hard to find. So for me, I just find it a lot easier to just add a little bit of orange zest, and I'm telling you, it does the job super, super well. It works every time. You don't have to worry about buying a $10 little container of orange peel, candied orange that you're never going to use again. So this works just as well. Smells fantastic. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So this is a traditional. I'm going to set it aside because now I want to work on my chocolate. Now, the cocoa powder is going to give you like really intense chocolate, but I am going to add in some chocolate chips in a little bit because that's how Mama rolls. But to this, I'm going to add just a little bit of almond extract. Tiny, tiny bit goes a long way, and it gives you a completely different flavor. It's really fun. I mean, you don't have to add it if you don't want to. You can do vanilla and chocolate, but just a little tiny bit really makes it like unexpected and elevates the whole thing. So I'm going to add some in, and now just patiently, I'm going to blend it into my filling. And because no cannoli filling is complete without lots of chopped chocolate, I like to use mini chocolate chips. You can fold some in too, which would be amazing, and I would definitely suggest you do that. But really, this is it. If you have the time, which I do think it's beneficial, pop these into the fridge for about an hour or so that everything kind of gets to know each other, or the flavors develop and mingle, and they're fantastic. And I'm sure, as you can tell, I'm dying to dig into these because I'm so excited. I don't know which to do, so I sacrifice and try a little bit of both, okay? These are cannoli chips. Get yourself a box of these if you can find them. You know, it's like cannoli, but easier and funner, I think. Bomb. So good, so easy, really a no-brainer at all. Double the recipe, make yourself 2 nice big batches, invite some friends over, let them bring everything else, and you got yourself an instant party. Go to laurainthekitchen.com. I'll have everything listed for you. The recipe will be broken down and everything will be ready and waiting. I hope you make this weekend, and if you do, I want to see pictures on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whichever you prefer. I'm like eyeing this up like it's ridiculous. I hope you enjoy spending time with me. I'm just gonna go back in. I'll see you next time. Bye.